Hi and welcome to my channel on mental health. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about emotional suppression. Suppression is where somebody that is having difficulties with their emotions may quite often suppress their emotions it could be through lifetime changes, through trauma, through growing up as a child, maybe not knowing how to express their feelings properly, and maybe those skills there that we find very difficult to do, like trying to express our feelings. But also when we're children, we quite intake things very easily, and if a child is maybe finding things difficult, or as we're growing up, somebody might say, "Oh, just get on with it," or something like that, we can quite easily start to suppress our feelings and think that our emotions are bad, are negative, turn those negative emotions into bad emotions. But that's not just the reasons for it. There are many reasons for somebody suppressing their emotions. Now, our emotions are who we are. We get negative emotions that occur from time to time, and we get the positive emotions, the good emotions that are quite easily dealt with and more acceptable. When suppressing emotions, the negative emotions, is something that somebody may find very difficult to express their emotions. They become numb, feeling of that numbness there, and so forth like that. We can't get rid of the negative emotions because it's part of who we are. But the natural response is to avoid. The avoidance there, when something difficult comes along and difficult emotions there, the natural response, the brain, it sends a signal to the brain that something is wrong, something is not right there, and we can quite naturally pull away from that and avoid that by distraction by doing other things, like which may turn into unhealthy things like overeating, eating more, the other unhealthy habits like drinking or watching too much TV, playing video games, anything like a distraction away from what is actually going on within oneself, rather than not suppressing it, rather than going towards that negative emotion, and finding out what is actually going on with oneself, getting a better understanding of those emotions, learning to tolerate those emotions, tolerate things that occur, can help us cope better with it. It's very helpful to find those skills to be able to express those negative emotions, because we've got to understand that those emotions, they're not harmful. They're no harm to us. They're not going to be no harm to us. It's just who we are. It's our feelings and how we react to things and how we are with things. But quite often we push them away, avoid it. We don't want that. We don't want that pain. We push that pain and suffering away, and it builds up and it suppresses our emotions instead of letting them arise and letting them pass. But even though suppressing one's emotions, they're not gone. they will keep popping back up again. It's like, you imagine a football. You're trying a football, if you put a ball into water, it will float. It will naturally float. It's like the waves, riding the waves and so forth like that. So the ball on the water, and you try to push it under the water. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of strength there. But what happens? It pops back up again. So think of that as those emotions that are being suppressed. They're popping back up. But over the time, building up, and sometimes many people might be abrupt, like with the anger, because it's building up, that tension there. Because not only does it affect mentally, it can affect us physically, suppressing our emotions. So it's very healthy to express our emotions, to let them arise, to let them pass, to cope better with those difficulties that occur as well. So learning to cope, having those tools to cope and learning to express is starting off reaching out and ask for help if you're struggling and finding it difficult. Reaching out, treatments like psychological treatments, talking for like psychotherapies, other talking therapies can help you to start to understand better, get a better understanding with those emotions, and to help you to learn new skills as well. New skills with being able to cope with those suppressed feelings, those emotions there. Because remember, they're not harmful. They're who we are. Our emotions are who we are. They're there to be used. It helps us through our day-to-day living, how we interact, how we are as a whole, really. Our emotions are, whether we feel sad, sometimes we feel angry, we feel happy, and so forth like that. All our emotions, our feelings, we use them sometimes, but quite often avoiding the negative ones, the negative emotions, but learning to express in a healthier way. Other ways of coping with those suppressed feelings is trying to cope, because sometimes we can quite how our thoughts, our behaviour because of it. So learning to cope with all that, what we think towards those negative emotions, our thoughts there, changing that thought pattern and coping in a more better way with those emotions and how we behave, how we act. Another one is coping with the suppressed emotions, is learning to sit with oneself rather than when those difficulties arise, avoiding, distracting oneself and pushing that difficult emotion away. Is learning to sit with oneself, noticing the sensations in your body. You may feel your stomach. Have you ever heard of the butterflies in the stomach? Because a lot of our emotions go to our stomach. That could be the anger, like the anxiousness, feeling anxious. Sorry, not the anger, feeling a bit anxious. So knowing them sensations there. If you're feeling like, I don't know, tension, headache, your head feels a bit heavy, it could be a build-up of anger, maybe. How the tension there, the tension in the body and so forth like that. So sitting with oneself and learning those, how your body, like the sensations in your body, can help you cope better with those negative emotions as well. And it's learning to let them be, just let them be in a more calmer way, and then they will pass. Letting those emotions arise and pass is like mindfulness is a very good thing. Mindfulness practicing is a skill that gives you, that is a fundamental, and it's a skill that can give you great benefits of learning to like express your emotions in a more better way. And that was one of them, sitting with oneself, learning to be relaxing the body, the sensations, keeping yourself in the present moment of what's going on, rather than drifting off, the distraction there, understanding those emotions better in a more calmer way. It's like the clouds, looking at the clouds passing, those are, seeing that as your emotions there and watching the clouds pass by. It's very good, it's very calming and very relaxing, just sitting there and watching, looking up in the sky, thinking those clouds is your emotions as they pass by. It's learning to not suppress them and hold on to those difficulties. It's learning to just sit and be with them and know, and basically as well, and know that they're not harmful. Analysing, like not over-analysing a difficult situation that keeps those emotions suppressed. Learning to know the triggers, knowing your triggers, learn those triggers along the way. Talking about how you're feeling is a very good thing. Expressing those emotions by talking to someone that you trust, that you know, you feel comfortable with as well, like friends, family. You've got the Samaritans and so forth like that. It's very important to do those things. Talk, it gives you an understanding, a better understanding of what is actually going on with your emotions, rather than keeping them in. You're expressing them and basically talking out that difficulty that is going on at the same time. There are other ways as well that can help. Drawing is very good. Being creative is very good for us, for our emotions. It helps us to express. It's expressing our emotions. It helps with our mood as well, and so forth like that. So journaling, writing, drawing, there are many things that we can do that can help with our emotions and help to cope with those suppressed emotions that may occur, like I said, through different reasons, even with an illness. Sometimes withdraw within oneself, suppressing them emotions is a natural response to something that the brain that sends a signal to the brain, and our natural instinct is danger. So suppressing our emotions there to protect us from any dangers, but in the long run it's not doing us oneself by keeping them emotions suppressed, because over time there's a bit, you just build up with all these emotions and they're still there. And sometimes when starting to express those emotions, they may be all over the place, and it could be quite a scary thing, feeling anxious and so forth like that. But it's all a normal reaction to when your emotions have been suppressed and you start to cope, try to overcome coping strategies for that. They may be all over the place, but it's normal. It's a normal reaction as well. So I'm going to end the video there. Please share this video because it's very important. Many people may find it very difficult with their emotions, feeling very numb within themselves, suppressed emotions there, finding ways to try to cope better, because the suppressing emotions can become very difficult over time and cause problems with our mental health and also our physical health as well. So there are many techniques as well for physical health to help with the anxiety bit as well. I forgot to mention the breathing exercises they say is very good to focus on your breath, because your breath is always with you as well. So breathing exercises as well. So yeah, please share this video, and if you wish to subscribe, feel free to, and I'll see you in the next video.